Okay. Okay, so welcome everybody, and thank you for being here on World Collage Day. So I know there's a lot of other things going on today, so I really appreciate that you can make it here in person. I know there's I've seen signs all over the place for plant sales, and everybody's getting ready for Mother's Day. So thank you. And I know some of you know me, but if you don't, I'm Kathy Johnson. I'm an artist. I live in Waterford, Connecticut. And I've always loved working with paper. And even though I've stretched into other areas like eco printing and rust printing and slow stitching, my passion's always centered around collage and paper and repurposing papers that I find and items that as often as I can. And I just wanted to tell you just a little bit about World Collage Day. It started back in 2018 by Rick Cassini. He's got this a magazine, so it's Collage, Kolaj. And it started back in 2018, and so now it's an annual international celebration of collage, and it's always on the second Saturday of May. So in World Collage Day, what they have done is invited artists and venues to host and have different events for people to come to introduce people to collage and just get it out there and have a way of sharing things, because really what he says is like World Collage Day is about artists connecting across borders and about sharing an art medium that brings different things together to create new forms and new ways of thinking. So that's why we're here today. So happy Collage Day, everybody. So we're going to be making, as you saw in the picture, just this little book that I call the zine. So I'm using the word zine kind of, I don't know that it technically is a zine, but a zine is considered, it provides a platform for independent expression and creativity. But they are usually self-published and just an analog experience, meaning we're not doing anything digitally. We're cutting and pasting, and it just allows you to share your thoughts, art, and ideas in a unique and personal way. So, and also just really fun to take one piece of paper and turn it into this, cute little booklet. So just to let you know, Claire, my friend Claire is here to help us with the chat. So if you have anything that you want to ask, I'm going to keep everybody muted for the most part until the end. Maybe we can do some sharing. But for now, any questions that you have, just put them in the chat, and then Claire will let me know, what questions are coming in as we go along. So I'm going to show you the pages of the zine that I made, and then I'm going to just kind of go over the supplies, and then we'll actually get folding that piece of paper, and we'll just spend some time collaging. So I'm going to just switch my camera. Okay, so got my cover here. Move this down just a little bit. Here we go. And so I'm using, I asked you to have different maybe flowers, birds, anything about spring that, spring means to you, and some graph paper and strips of colors from magazines and things. I'll show you the sources that I got most of this stuff from. And I did add a quote from John Muir in here. This cute little finch while he's in the spring molting process. And then pictures of, I've got another one that I did, I'll show you at the end, where I used a lot of different postage stamps. And I love using the graph paper. Of course, it just adds this nice graphic element, but if you're like me, where you get a little bit crazy if things aren't straight, it's the perfect way to help line up things, because you can use your edges, and then you can use the graph paper to keep other things straight on it. So it's just kind of a fun, I like to use graph paper a lot in my work. So, and the cute little robins, I love seeing the robins in the spring. And then I did use some washi tape on a couple of these, because as you see when we get folding, there's going to be a couple of open edges on the paper, and you can either glue your pages together, you can use some washi tape like this one here that I used. It's really kind of bleeding right into that, the color. It's not too distracting, whereas on this one, it's really showing up, but if that's what you want and that's the purpose, then you can go ahead and do that too. And then just the back side on that. All right. So what I did was I found this is a great source, this magazine here, for finding images of birds and flowers. There's just so many great pictures in here. Let's see, where's another little birdie? You know, like here. And a lot of these that I did take out of this magazine, they were too big for this small zine. So I just reduced them. Put them on my copy machine, made a copy, and just reduced the size so that they would fit. And I also, let me show you one of my pictures here. And by doing that, I also was able to take this robin and switch them. So this time he's leaning out to the right, this time he's leaning over to the right. So depending on the, you know, the composition, like I wouldn't want this little finch over on this side, like falling off of this page. So I've got it where he's turned this way, he's just facing into the composition of the collage. So it's kind of nice if you do have to make some copies, you have that option of flipping things when you're working on them. So that was good for flowers and birds. And I take so many pictures of my garden in the springtime. So I did take a lot of those images too, which I'll be showing you from some of the other books. I have found that this magazine that a friend gave me is really great for finding all of these strips of color that you can use. I'll just flip through this really quickly, show you some of the, like, look at that, all that green that you've got on there that you can use. You know, you can cut that off. Like if I'll cut this one off, cut this one out so I can show you what I was thinking when I was cutting those up. But she's got all different kinds of colors in here. Like you can use these, look at all that extra background space that you can use. And then even if, I'm trying to find, there was one where it was like these, you can use these as a background. In fact, I did use that. Like here, I've got, I cut out this large strip from a magazine, and it's not so distracting. It's not like really bright, so it doesn't really take away. You wouldn't want to have a pattern that's just like gonna distract you from like kind of your focal point on there. But there's plenty of images of grass and things like this that you could, like even up here, you could just take that strip off of there and use that. And there was one in here that was really fun, that like even these tiles on the edges, that would be something fun to use. And there was one that had some scallops on it that looked really, I can find that one. There it is. That's the one. Look at the edges on that, the scallops. So you could have some fun with that. So that's just, it happens to be one of the magazines that I found that had the most examples of things that I could use. But also different clothing magazines. There's a lot of nice backgrounds that you can use in these. Let's see, there was, you know, some of these are kind of like just different walls, maybe not so bright for spring, but, you know, for other things that you could use those for. So, you know, some blues. So what I was doing to make this whole collection of all these different strips that I have, I would take this magazine page and just get my ruler and my blade here. And I'm just going to cut that strip. And then when I've got these other places that are a little bit wider, I really like to make wedges when I can. And I can always cut that wedge down and just make a straight strip if I want. But this way I have the option of using that, like I did that here. You can't see a whole lot of it, but in this one, this orange piece is a wedge. And even here, it's a little bit something different than just having the straight strip across. And I even do that when I'm tearing the graph paper, making little wedges. So just giving you an option of the straight cut versus a wedge. So I would just get back here in the picture and trying to keep it straight. I love these quilting rulers because you can see through, so you know when you've got it lined up for a nice straight cut. So now I have this nice piece that I can use. And then on here, I would probably go, because I've got this number on here that I wouldn't want to show. Although sometimes if you just leave that in there, you're going to be covering it up with one of your images or one of the other like the graph paper or something. But first I would want to cut this edge straight, this edge where I have where I pulled it out, my sharp edge. And then I'm just going to put it on an angle. And you can either go, so I'm going right to the corner and making a sharp cut there, or you can make it a little bit. I like to kind of take as much space as it has to offer, and then I can always cut it down from there. So now I've got this wedge that I can work with. Okay, and then the images that I have I've got all of these different images that I took out of magazines like this. These are from my garden that I printed out on my copier. And some of them I did cut out, like I did these little fussy cuts on there, but then again, you don't have to do that on all of them. If you wanted to use the entire piece, obviously this would have to be a little bit smaller, but you can do that. But here's that original picture that I had of that finch. So I actually had to enlarge him to get him to work on the page. And just daffodils. I love the daffodils. These are from my garden. And I showed you the robin. And some cute little, just looking through different, unfortunately, I didn't have a good catalog for like a seed catalog this year where I could take some flower images out of there. I guess I got rid of them all last year and I didn't save any. All right. And then the graph paper. I don't know how I have all these different kinds of graph paper. I've just collected them over the years. These are some that have, it's actually a purple line on there. And then I have the blue ones, which is the typical graph paper, but there's different sizes too. I've got the 1/4 inch and this is a little bit smaller. And then I have this one that's broken down into larger squares and then the little squares inside. So that, again, if you have different kinds of graph paper, it just kind of gives you a little bit of variety within your piece. All right, so just checking my notes to make sure I didn't forget anything there. All right, so I think what we'll do now is we're going to actually fold our paper. So I did paint a bunch of different papers. I've got all these different colors here. And I think today I'm going to use blue. I've been using a lot of the orange. I really liked the orange and the pale green that I did. But today I'm going to see how it works with a robin's egg blue page. So this is a 9x12 piece of paper. And like I said, you could use the 9x12. You can use an 8.5x11. It's just a little bit smaller. If you use an 8.5x11, your book will be 4 1/4 by 2 3/4, compared to you're only losing maybe, a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch. This is a 9x12 and this is an 8.5x11. So not much difference there. And you can really work with any size. I'm going to show you later on, based on the images that I had to work with, they weren't going to fit on either of those papers. So I ended up using a 12x12 piece of scrapbook paper to be able to get the images to fit the way I wanted without having to reduce them on my printer and copier. Okay, get my ruler out of the way there. So to start to fold the piece of paper to make it into this little booklet here, you're going to turn it over so that you've got the non-color side and just fold that in half. Get this here in camera. So I guess some people call this the hamburger fold because you're going to fold it and have the bigger rectangles, and crease that nicely. Open it up, and then you're just going to turn it this way and then fold it again in half. So, and I guess people call that the hot dog fold, like a hot dog bun. Lining up my corners. Trying to be as accurate as possible, because when we do fold this up, we're going to have a lot of layers. So the better your original folds are, the better it's going to work. So I've got those creased nicely, and then I'm going to turn it over this way. And I'm going to turn it so that I've got it in a vertical landscape there. And I'm going to bring this edge up to the middle and fold it up here. And sometimes what I do to make sure I'm right at that fold, I'll bring that paper up and just kind of make sure that I've got my edge right there, and then fold that. And then we turn it around and do the same thing on this side, just bringing this bottom edge into the middle. And the reason I'm doing the folds this way, where we had it turned this way and turned this way, is going to make it go right into that book position nice and easily versus having it against the fold. So here again, I'm bringing up the edge to the middle, and I'm just going to kind of check, make sure I've got my edges. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see where that fold line was. Okay, crease that. And then we just have one cut to do. So you want to fold it in half this way, and we're going to cut it right here. So I'll get my scissors. So from the middle, where the middle is there, and if you can see that, the line, right to where that other fold is. Try not to go past that. Oops. Past that one, so cutting that.
There we go.
Okay. So that's what the cut is, right to that line there. And then when you open this up, what I do is I will pinch like this, and then when you squeeze it in and fold that over, that's how you get your book. I'll do that again. Once you've got your folds, you kind of pinch this, and then you can push it in. And if we had done the folds not the way that we did, if these were folded the other way, they would be resisting that push. So that's why I did the folding in that order. So push it in. And then I usually take the one that's in my left hand and make that my front cover. But, you know, it doesn't really matter. You could do it any way you want. If you want to have the folded edge as, you know, the cover, the first page. But I don't know, just generally I've gotten into the habit of doing it like that. So then I'm just going to fold it. And then you just want to press it really good to crease all those edges. And now I've got my cover and a couple of inside pages and the back cover. So this is where I was saying if you wanted to use washi tape to cover that up and keep those together, or sometimes, and I'm going to do that now, I will use a glue stick. And then what it allows me to do is, I think when you fold it here, you can see how that fold is not perfect on the edge. It's not meeting quite right. But if I take my glue stick, I can kind of adjust that and then do another crease on there just to get it a little bit more in shape. So I'm just going to put it around the edges and then open it up a little bit. And I'm just going to make those edges meet. And then when I fold it back up, I just adjust the crease. And now I no longer have that little white part showing. And then I can do the same thing on this one here that's open. I'm just gonna glue the edges. Make my edges meet. And then again, just refold, and then you just have to just press it again to the edges creased. There. So I love that. I mean, this is just a little book format that you can use for so many things. You know, like I said, using different size papers will give you different size books. And really the point today of doing this, I'm just keeping it very simple. We're using horizontal and vertical lines with some kind of a focal point on each one. So you can really just play around with the lines that you're making. You can go as simple as, see, I think I had here, I just have a piece of graph paper here, the line and the focal point. You can do it as simple as that, or you can double things up a little bit. Like here, I've got I've got the vertical there, but I made two horizontals on there. So I just like I find out what kind of, I'm going to use these for my cover. And so then I would just kind of pick the colors that might work with this on the page, figure out where I'm going to put it, what stripes or what kind of a horizontal, vertical that I might want to use, and mixing those in. But like I said, I really like the graph paper because I will generally put that down first, or like in this case, I have the orange underneath it, but I could just maybe glue the bottom of that and have this still flapping open just to get it lined up. And then I can add the other pieces and glue it down. It's just it's just one of those things that I have. I don't like it. If something's going to be crooked, it needs to be because I want it crooked, but if I'm trying to get it straight and it's not quite straight, it drives me crazy. And here I'm just kind of gluing one of these little edges that popped up. Okay, are there any questions so far?
Not yet.
I don't see any in the chat yet.
Okay, no questions. All right, let's see. So I think we will go ahead and get started. And I think we'll just I'll set my timer for like 15 minutes and we can all collage. I'm going to be working with this little blue book here that I started, and taking my graph paper. And I know I want to do a purple strip because I've got my purple violets here. And so you can see me as I'm working. And if you have any questions as we're going along, just put it in the chat. And Claire.
Bobby had a quick one. How many pages does it end up being?
Okay, it ends up being, there's really only 3 spreads in there. You've got your cover, the first spread, the second spread, and the third spread. So if you're counting pages, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because you've put you kind of folded your paper in half and made the pages. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So that's why, again, this is a nice, simple project to do because there's not that many areas to fill on here. It's kind of small. And since we're keeping it simple with just the, the vertical and the horizontals and the focal point. So I will set the timer for like 15 minutes just so we can all work. And like I said, any questions, just put them in the chat and we will go from there. All right, where's my clock? There we go. Okay, so there we go. And if we need more time, if we felt that wasn't enough, then we can add a little more time to it. All right, so I'm just going to start. And when I'm starting, I just kind of play around and decide, all right, do I want that as my vertical? I know I want these guys on here. Or do I want to have this? Do I like it like that? Or maybe I want to reverse it and do it the other way. So I just move my pieces around, or even if I'm thinking, well, maybe a different color might work there, and just try different things until you see a combination that you're happy with. And then you can start gluing. So I think I like the purple with that. I did use, on all of these samples that I did, I tended to use a lot of purple. It just seems to go with a lot of the spring flowers that I have pictures of. For gluing on so I don't get my table all messy. And then I will trim the pieces off the edge as I go. Just being very careful especially when you're working on a folded edge, you don't want to cut into that and open up that fold. So I'm just cutting right to the edge, and then I can save that for something else. And another thing too is you might not want to go edge to edge in each direction. Here I'm thinking, I could have that purple going all the way up, but I think I'm going to just have it not go all the way up to the top. And then I'm using my graph paper as a way to keep everything nice and straight. And of course, visually you can use your edge as to keep things straight. And sometimes it's good if you have a clean piece of paper that you can use to like burnish down. Once you glue something down, just kind of, if you have a bone folder, you can use that, or just use your fingers. The heat kind of helps the glue stick extra well on there, and so that you work out any bubbles that you might have. Sometimes working with magazine pages can be frustrating because they're so thin and they'll bubble and wrinkle. But I mean, I find working with a glue stick works pretty well. If I use a liquid glue on it, I think I end up having more problems. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with that for my cover picture. Or maybe, I might come back later and put a tiny little strip someplace else, something really small. But I can come back and do that later. I'll just get the basics down. That may be fine. I may not add anything to it. Okay, so that's just the cover. Now I've got the full spread to work with. And leaving where we had all these open spaces, that's perfect spots for putting some poetry, quotes in there. All right, let's see, I've got...
I'm going to go ahead and copy and put some quotes that Kathy had shared in the chat if you guys wanted to just get any of those.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Claire. I did come up with just a short list of things that were short quotes that would easily fit in these little books, if you like any of those. Let's... And I like having the combination of torn edges with straight edges. There's sometimes where I did use a straight, I think. Let's see, did I use any straight cuts? No, all of the graph paper that I used in this one, I did end up using a torn edge. When you're gluing across the fold, sometimes it wants to kind of pucker a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll kind of press my fingernail in there and just kind of fold it over. It helps it rather than just gluing it and then folding it. It does seem to help it stay in that fold a little better and not buckle.
Kathy, can you pull yours up a little?
Pardon?
Can you pull it up a little?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks.
Oh, that looks nice. Sorry. Beautiful.
Yeah, I should move my camera back a little bit and then I won't do that again. There. Now this one, I could have moved this flower up, but I'm leaving space so that I'll be able to write in there. Same thing on here, I've got some space.
Kathy,
Yeah.
it's Patsy. What did you say you did about when you go across the page?
Okay, so if you have, so it doesn't bubble and kind of pucker on that, what I do is sometimes you can actually just glue this half first. Let's see, I'll take one of
Oh, and then
Whoa, that's loud. Okay, that was our
I thought first it was my phone.
that was our 15 minutes, but that's okay. What I might do if I was going to be putting this piece down, I would add the glue just up to here, maybe make a little mark with my fingernail, and then just glue that down. So I went and put the glue on the back there, just on that half, and then fold the page and kind of give it that crease, and then add glue here. Or if you glue the whole thing, like I did on most of these, and these are pretty good. There's not too, I don't see really any bubbling on those. When I glue it down, before it's really pressed down well, I take my fingernail and just kind of push into the fold and then fold it and check it, and then just do that a couple of times, and it usually can, and then smooth the paper out, and that should help eliminate those bulges. See, that's one of the good things about using this lightweight magazine type paper is if you had really thick paper in there, you might need to take a blade and slice it, so it would still be like a piece that's all the way across, but you're just cutting it down the middle to give it room so that your pages close. But with this nice lightweight paper, you don't really have to worry about that.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. So I guess, I need a few more minutes. Does everybody else want a few more minutes to keep going?
Yes, please.
Okay. I've got one more page in my cover, and then I'll check and see how everybody is doing. Here's another tip that might help with something. I've got this little fussy cut piece that I have here, and as soon as I put glue on it, you can see the pieces start to curl, and it might be hard to get exactly where I wanted this to be positioned. So I only glue part of it. I just glued the greenery on it so that I could kind of get it positioned, because I want to tuck this one little end under here. And then I'll show you how I finish the gluing. Straight. Okay, so let's see. And then what I'll do is I'll pull this back and I'll put my glue paper underneath it. And then I can go ahead and glue the rest of it without getting it all over my page. And then it will just fold down right into the spot that I wanted. And then I can burnish it down. I mean, that's good if you have a really large piece that you're gluing to, because sometimes it's hard to get it exactly where you want it, especially if the paper does start to curl with the moisture of the glue stick. Okay, so I think I've got mine pretty much set. Here, I'll just flip through the pages. Got my cover, my first spread with plenty of room for writing something in there. My crocuses from my garden, and then some more violets to finish that off. So if you want to keep collaging, I was just going to take a minute or two just to very briefly tell you about a class that I have coming up called Sketchbook Collage. And this year I'm extending it to a 5-week class. It's been 4 weeks previously because I've added a few more fun collage exercises. Plus we'll be making some more of our own collage papers using different techniques. So it starts on Thursday, June 5th. And if you're interested, you can get all the details. Claire just shared the link in the chat there, and it's open for registration now just to people who are participants here. It's not going to open up to the public until next week when I send my newsletter out. Probably, I don't know, may not be till Wednesday or Thursday, but just to let you know that that is out there. And if you wanted to sign up for my newsletter just to be aware of things that are coming up in the future, Claire also put that link in the chat for you.
Kathy, with this sketchbook collage class, do they need supplies? Or I mean, obviously they're going to need supplies, but do you offer a kit with that, like with some of your other classes, or is it they provide their own?
Basically, let me see. I'll show you what. We're basically working in a collage, or excuse me, in a sketchbook this size, like 7 by 10. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly this size. It could be bigger, it could be a little bit smaller. And even if you didn't want to have to go out and buy a sketchbook, you could also just work on just whatever pieces of paper, maybe some watercolor papers. There is a if you go to that page where I have all the information on there, you can see the full supply list. But I list a lot of things on there, and it's mainly just to give a lot of suggestions, because really you need to use papers that that mean something to you or that you like. So I have a video too. Also, when you sign up, there's 2 videos. The first one is like a welcome video showing all the different kinds of papers, just suggestions and things that I collect and ideas for you, as well as the first paper painting technique, which is painting tissue papers. I think I have a page in here I can show you. I can find it. Not really quickly. Oh, here we go. It's painting papers like this. How you can see they're nicely textured, and they're also translucent, so they're great for working with layers. So I don't send papers for this one. This is one of the few classes that I don't supply a kit with, because you know, you want to use papers that that you find and that mean something to you. And you know, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be, like I say, I go to my recycle bin and just pull things out of there. So you can get some ideas from the supply list. Okay, let's see. All right, so I was just going to show you a couple other books that I made, you know, using this 1-page folded thing, different sizes and stuff. And then if you wanted to share, I would love to see what you guys have been working on. So I'll just move my camera again and show you. All right, so that's the one I just finished. That's the one I made before. Okay, so here's the one that I used with postage stamps and also strips of magazine, but as well as to go along with the postage stamp, I have a huge collection of security envelopes. If you follow any of my collage work, you know I love using security envelope patterns. So what I did was, you can see how this is the stamp, and I enlarged it. I did that for all of the stamps in there just to make them, they just looked better, larger. I would use these maybe in a smaller book, you know, if they were this size. I mean, it just made more of an impact. So I had a lot of fun putting those together, finding some, I have a couple of stamps like this one and this one are from Switzerland. I have a friend who lives there, so I get some really beautiful stamps when I get notes from her. So I started out with that one, and this background paper here was from a fun, I think it was a Pepsi Cola page that had an ad, and it had all these different blue dots all over it. So I combined that with another strip and then a small piece of lightly patterned security envelope. And here, this one enlarged, and I kept the postmark, the stamp on there because I kind of like that. Here you can see it did get a little bit, oh boy, the camera does not like those lines. It got a little bit of a pucker on there, but you know, it's okay. I could probably see how it's a little bit looser. I could probably take a palette knife and put a little bit more glue under there, and that will help with that. And then the pretty butterfly stamp, and this is also a security envelope pattern. And then the purple stamp. Again, a couple more magazine strips and security envelope, and then the little bee on the clover there. Okay, so that was the same size. This was done with a 9x12. And then I had these things that I had saved, I'd cut out of a bulb catalog that I had from a couple years ago. And I really liked them, but I didn't want to cut them down. I didn't want to have to reduce them, because I had already started coloring some of them in. So they were all these really beautiful little line drawings from a bulb catalog that I had cut out and saved. So, and you can see how they're, you know, they're never going to fit on something like that. And I didn't, at first I was thinking I was just going to chop it off and get rid of the bulb part, but I didn't want to do that. I thought it would be prettier to have the whole thing on there. So what I did was I took a piece of 12x12 scrapbook paper, and I just did the same thing with the folds and then doing it this way. So now it kept the same width, but I have a much taller book. So this is how I ended up doing it with that. And what I did was I cut out on these, but I colored them in with colored pencil so that I could keep the whole flower and the bulb, pretty crocus. But using the same idea of just the horizontal and the verticals, and using a lot of the graph paper in there. So that's just to show you that you can use different sizes of paper. You can kind of experiment and play around with that to get different sizes. If you wanted to have a wider book, you'd need to use more than the 12 inches. And also, you can also do things like, if you didn't have the magazine, or in addition to having like magazine strips, I just did things where, you know, I just drew some lines with colored pencil and made it like thick and thin and horizontal and vertical. You can do things like that in there. Or you could, before you even fold your page, I mean, I actually have this one glued already, but if you took your page before you did any of the folding and gluing and just put some lines, either with a pencil, colored pencil, marker, or a watercolor, and then when you fold it up, you just get bits of those lines like I did on here, because this was all painted. And then when I fold it up, each page has a little bit of a different thing. And sometimes these lines will help you with deciding what you're going to put on there as your collage element. So it's just a different way to approach it. Okay, and I think that is everything I have for you. If let's see. If you did want to share, I just want to remind you, I'm going to be posting this video to my YouTube channel. So if you do share, you'll be on that. But I would love it if anybody would like to share. I would love to see what you were working on. Let me just go back to gallery view. So if you want to just, oh, Natalie, I see Natalie's holding one up. So let's spotlight her and see what she's got. Ooh, okay.
So I had the back of a paste paper I did. I don't know, this is going to be actually for my mom. She's caring for somebody, but anyway, a paper from the Garden Gate magazine, which is a great magazine for cutouts, and I just put it over the edge. So, and I don't know, the little rabbits, I love rabbits. That came from the magazine. Everything came from the Garden Gate magazine.
Oh, okay. That's
So
good
she's
to know
actually
then.
caring for my stepdad in hospice. So I just thought this was very caring.
Yeah.
Haven't finished this certainly. And
Mhm.
then we love red buds. So this is like it says mom. I mean, that's just a cutout that I did.
Okay.
Mom, um, mom.
Yeah,
But
I love
anyways,
your
we love red
background
buds.
paper. Your background paper is beautiful.
Thank you. And that's the back of, here's the inside of the
Oh, okay. Yeah.
paste paper, but somehow I wanted the light background paper. So, and more red buds. I think
Hmm.
I still need to burnish this.
Yeah.
And then the back cover, you see, here's the back of the paste paper they got. I'll probably cover something that
It
up.
almost looks
But
like you put a
anyways,
piece of washi tape down there. I kind of like that.
yeah, I didn't have washi tape, so I've been trying to use some clear papers
Yeah.
that I had. Like I did it for this one also.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Very nice. Hmm.
So it's washi paper. I didn't have any washi tape, but I think some kind of washi paper.
Hmm.
So you can still see some of it. But
Yeah, I
anyways,
love the translucency. Very nice.
yeah. So I kind
Great.
of went for the translucent type of effect on the edges. So
Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing.
okay.
Anybody else?
There were a few
No.
people that said
I'll get
that
to
had
everybody. I'll get to all of you. Don't worry. All right, Gail. Hello.
Ooh, pretty.
Let me
There we go.
unmute
Yeah,
first.
there you go.
Hi, everybody. This was really fun. Having a time limit, Kathy, really prevented me from taking all day to do this.
Okay, good.
Honestly, I mean, yeah. Anyway, I paint little flowers. Can you see this? Let's see.
There we go. That's better on that side.
Okay, better on that side. So I first learned about envelope security papers from Kathy. So this is a little homage to her. I use them all the time. So that's my cover. And I think I have some papers in here that you and I did a swap, Kathy, maybe?
We maybe I might have had a printout for the sketchbook collage class. I might have had some printouts that you could have used. Yeah.
So, on this page, I'll do some writing. I do some hand lettering,
Hmm.
and I found an old little postcard stamp down there
Hmm.
to put at the bottom. And then this is a collage, just like a little pile of things I did a little while ago. I just wanted to make the book kind of blue and aqua.
Hmm.
There's a little bird I painted, and
Oh, that's so nice.
I'll put some words up here.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay.
And I can't wait to see it when you put your lettering on it because you do absolutely gorgeous hand lettering.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Gail. And let's see,
Sure.
I know I had a few other people that wanted to share. Let's see. I think Patsy, I'll show Patsy. Spotlight you. There. Hi, Patsy.
Hi. So this is my cover and my inside,
Mm-hmm.
and then my I didn't finish. I liked using washi tape.
Okay, yeah, that it is a really fun element to use.
Yeah, this is cool, and I agree with Gail. It's nice having a time limit.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love the bright yellow background you use for that because it just makes me think of all the daffodils. It's beautiful.
yeah, yeah. It's great.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Kathy.
sharing. Yeah, speaking of a time limit, I do have a couple. I've done
Hello.
oh,
Hello.
I'm going to mute everybody. Okay. I have done other classes for World Collage Day. I did a speed collage and a surprise collage. So the speed collage, that's one where you really get limited to your time. You have like, I think I did 2.5 and 3 minutes. So those are on my YouTube channel if you want to check those out. It's kind of fun. All right, let's see. Who else wanted to share? Carol? All right, let me put Carol in the spotlight. Hi, Carol.
Hi, there's my granddaughters participating
Oh,
today.
good. Glad you could join us.
It was fun.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. Ooh, look at that. That's a beautiful clematis flower. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. I know these can also, I mean, you could use these for greeting cards, like perfect. I mean, tomorrow's Mother's Day, so it could be used for that. Very nice. Did you finish any more pages? You have something on the back or no? Okay, not finished yet. Well, great. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, who else? I don't want to miss anybody.
Sandra.
Sandra! Hi, Sandra.
Unmute. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hello, I miss everyone.
Sandra, just to let
Okay.
you know, Sandra's in France. That's why she's saying that.
Yes. Mine's kind of I didn't exactly choose the color she suggested. Sorry.
Well, that's fine.
But
Do your own
okay.
thing.
So it's just a little thing. It's kind of a pink one, and I'm gonna put a haiku in it, obviously.
good.
And here's just some little bits of things I made, and some birds, and some cute little
Oh, the
some
bunny,
little
yes.
rabbits.
Yeah.
And this is from a French children's book that I picked up in the trash somewhere, or somebody gave it to me. I don't remember. So yeah. So that's just my interpretation of spring in France.
Oh, and that beautiful lily. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that'll be nice with the haiku on there. I didn't get quite around to doing it for mine, but
Yes,
I've learned
yes.
a lot from Sandra about writing haiku. She's a wonderful teacher. So if you can find her, what's the name of your website? Just in case people
Poetry Seed, all in one word.
Poetry Seed.
Poetry Seed.
And that's TREE. Yes. Okay.
Exact.
So check her out if you're interested in writing haiku. Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else? Kimberly.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. I did also want to say it was wonderful to have a time limit, and also I limited myself to what I could reach without getting up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started with a watercolor stencil thing I did with friends
Mm-hmm.
a while back. So that's the paper underneath, and it was on rice paper, so I glued it to a piece of pink cardstock. I don't know if you can see that in there,
Oh yeah.
because it was kind of wrinkly.
Mm-hmm.
So then I also, it's interesting, a lot of us did the security envelopes.
Mm-hmm.
I found a ledger paper thing in the dump yesterday.
Wow.
And then all the illustrations within and the words are from a 1960s like nature encyclopedia I found for kids, early 1960s, and I tore it up. So all of those
Mm-hmm.
are from that, and there, and I need one more set of words.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the back, I'm just saying World Collage Day.
Yeah, good idea.
But that was really cool to have the time limit, and I
Oh,
think I'm
good.
gonna
That's good to know.
yeah, and I think I'm gonna do the thing again where I can only use what I can reach.
Mm-hmm. And question now, you used cardstock, you said. How was that when you were folding it?
It's very lightweight cardstock. I would
Is it?
say it's like 65,
Okay.
65, and it's fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
That's good to
yeah.
know. All right. Thank you. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, okay, John. There you go. You got to unmute yourself.
Yep, we're
What do you guys
unmuting.
do over there?
John and Michelle.
Hi.
Hi. So here's my cover
Uh-huh.
and my page.
Oh, lovely.
Nice colors.
And the next one.
Okay.
And that's as far as I got.
As far as you got, wonderful. Thank you. And then here, oh, a little finch.
Yep. So that's my cover.
Okay.
and that's my backside.
Uh-huh.
And I'm still working on this one.
Oh, but nice start. Look at
Oh, I
that.
like
Beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't know what's going on in it. And
The
this one
clock
I'm
maybe
leaving,
is for longer days of spring.
yes, and I'm leaving space so that I can write something. That's my back page.
Wonderful. Okay. Great.
That's it.
Thank you. What else are you guys doing over there today, John, for World Collage Day?
Well, we have a number of collages, people doing, stuff. We have many tables with magazines
Ah,
and here we'll show one. This is Lisa's.
oh, look at
She's
that.
working
Beautiful.
on.
Yes.
I like the cat in the
You wanna
corner.
show anything?
Yeah, me too. Looking up at the birds.
My favorite. And come on over.
High school junior.
So this is a high school junior who is making a Mother's Day.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Very nice. Very springy.
Yeah, so we have tons of wallpaper samples.
Mhm.
We got a donation, and they all basically I mean, I'm saying thousands of them. We have thousands of sheets
Yeah.
of wallpaper samples, but like they all have these really cool textures, and some of them are shimmery and some of them have felt on them, kind of
Oh,
like the
wow.
old school wallpaper from the 70s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah. Oh, those are
So
great supplies.
have not even been able to go through all of them
Yeah.
over the course of the years I've had them. I'm still finding some great stuff every time I go into it. I love myself some paper.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy collaging over there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Did we see everybody? Anybody else? Okay, I think we are done then. If nobody's left to share, all right.
Thanks, Kathy.
Well, thank you so much for being here, everybody. I enjoyed having this little collage session with you this morning.
Thank you.
So I will be sending the link because this will be going to the YouTube channel because I know there were a lot of people that weren't able to join us live. So, and if you are going to share on social media, you can tag me at Kathy Johnson Art, or if you just want to email me what you did, a couple pictures of something, I would love to share them, maybe put them on my website. People always like to see examples of what we've done in the classes, so that would be wonderful. Okay, so go out and enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and thank you again for being here with me.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Kathy.
Bye-bye.